K-dramas and webtoons are a match made in heaven. With unique plots and visually strong storytelling, webtoons already have huge fan bases, and when adapted right, we get masterpieces like We Hero. But as any fan knows, not every adaptation actually lands. In today's video, we'll be talking about 10 such K-drama adaptations that just shouldn't have happened at all. Kicking off the list is Omniscient Reader. This adaptation had fans hyped beyond belief. It wasn't just another webtoon remake, it was one of the most anticipated films in years, backed by legendary source material and a star-studded cast. The original webtoon, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, follows Dokja, a man who suddenly finds himself inside the very novel he's been reading for a decade. It's an epic blend of dark survival themes, layered characters, and insanely detailed world-building that seemed tailor-made for a big-budget spectacle. But what we got instead was a watered-down shadow of its potential. The adaptation stripped away the grit and sharp storytelling that made the original such a phenomenon. The pacing felt awkward, the stakes were diluted, and most fatally, Dokja himself didn't feel like Dokja. Critics complained that the character had been reshaped into a generic action hero, completely losing the intellectual edge and unique positioning that defined him. When the character is the brand, that kind of rewrite is a commercial death sentence. The film didn't just underperform, it's now projected to go down as one of the worst flops in Korean movie history. The reliance on heavy CGI only highlighted the hollow storytelling beneath. By oversimplifying the complex lore and sidelining what made Kim Dokja so compelling in the first place, the filmmakers alienated the very fans who had been waiting for this moment. The tragedy of Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint isn't that it was adapted, but that it was adapted without respect for its core essence. No amount of dazzling spectacle can save a story if the audience no longer recognizes the hero they love. Next up on the list is Crushology 101. The campus romance drama Crushology 101 had all the potential to be a quirky and relatable rom-com about modern dating struggles. Unfortunately, the adaptation turned out flat. Despite being based on a webtoon with over 170 million views, the series drew record-low ratings, including a historic low of 0.7% for a primetime drama on a terrestrial network. Reviews called it a chewing gum drama that lost its flavor. Characters that were charming and witty in the webtoon somehow became bland archetypes. The humor didn't translate, the chemistry was forced, and the whole thing played out like a checklist of cliches. The fundamental issue was a failure to innovate within a saturated market of campus romance dramas. The show offered nothing new. It relied on tired tropes without a compelling twist or emotional depth. The characters were so underdeveloped that viewers couldn't understand why they liked each other besides each other's looks. The show's generic nature and lack of a unique selling point meant it failed to capture the public's imagination, proving that a popular webtoon premise alone is not enough. The adaptation must bring something new and compelling to the screen. Third on the list is Orange Marmalade. The 2015 adaptation of Orange Marmalade is still one of the most painful examples of how to ruin a beloved webtoon. The original blended high school romance, social commentary, and fantasy elements with surprising depth, centering on Jung Jae-min's journey of confronting his prejudice and learning to accept Baekmati's identity. The drama, however, took a baffling detour with a sudden Joseon-era time jump that turned a modern coming-of-age story into a historical romance. Critics called the shift narratively pointless, a complete derailment that sacrificed the heart of the story for an overused K-drama trope about faded love across lifetimes. Instead of showing Jaemin's growth and introspection, the adaptation implied that his acceptance of Mari came from destiny, not self-awareness, stripping away the nuanced exploration of bias that made the webtoon so impactful. The drama felt like two disconnected shows glued together, leaving fans frustrated and betrayed by what should have been a beautiful, grounded adaptation. Following that is Seasons of Blossom. Seasons of Blossom should have been a guaranteed win, because the webtoon is one of those rare gems that perfectly captures the awkwardness, heartbreak, and bittersweet moments of youth. The original manhwa was structured as a tetralogy, with each season exploring a different story that still tied into the bigger picture. The drama, though, decided to shake things up, introducing original characters, rewriting key plot lines, and glossing over the raw, quiet emotion that made the source so powerful. For fans of the webtoon, this felt like a betrayal, with many calling it not loyal and disappointing. Yet interestingly, viewers who went in without watching the manhwa found it pretty good as a standalone series, praising the visuals, acting, and especially the Ehamin and Hansomang arc. Still, what could have been a true masterpiece on screen turned into a shiny but watered-down version. It's the kind of adaptation that proves a drama doesn't have to be bad to feel like a failure. It just has to lose the heart of what made the story special. Number 5. Nevertheless. Nevertheless has gone down as one of the most infamous webtoon to drama adaptations, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. The webtoon was already a hot topic for how it tackled toxic relationships and heartbreak with a raw, self-aware edge, but the drama leaned so hard into the romance that it ended up romanticizing red flags instead of critiquing them. Viewers were divided. Some praised it for being raw and real, an accurate reflection of messy, college-age situationships, while the bigger camp found the characters deeply unlikable and were furious at the drama's ending. Visually, it was stunning, with moody cinematography and a killer soundtrack, but all that polish couldn't cover the clash between creative intent and audience expectations. It turned into full-on frustration TV, where people couldn't stop watching but also couldn't stop screaming at their screens. Number 6. She's in the Trap. If there's one adaptation that fans will never stop talking about, in all the wrong ways, it's She's in the Trap. The webtoon had this addictive mix of layered psychology, subtle character dynamics, and a refreshingly realistic look at university life. And the drama actually started out pretty strong, but then it all went downhill fast. Midway through, the male lead Yoo-jong was sidelined, and the focus suddenly shifted to second male lead Baek Ino. Fans later learned this wasn't some bold, creative twist. It was reportedly due to the director's personal preference for the actor, which completely derailed the central romantic tension between Yoo-jong and Hong-sol. To make things worse, the ending felt rushed and baffling, leaving viewers feeling betrayed. She's in the Trap has since become a cautionary example of webtoon adaptations. A promising start poisoned by ego, poor direction, and a total disregard for what made the source so compelling in the first place. Next up on the list is Kiss Sixth Sense. On paper, Kiss Sixth Sense had everything going for it. A killer premise where a woman can see the future whenever she kisses someone, a sleek office romance backdrop, and leads with undeniable chemistry. The webtoon was quirky, thoughtful, and even dipped into darker tones that kept the story from feeling too light. The drama, though, couldn't decide what it wanted to be. It leaned heavily into glossy rom-com territory at first, then awkwardly shoved in a secondary thriller plot that completely hijacked the story. Instead of enriching the romance, that subplot was rushed, half-baked, and left viewers unsatisfied, especially those who signed up for a supernatural love story, not a messy mystery. Critics noted that the show lost its focus, and they weren't wrong. By trying to juggle two genres with a short episode count, the drama ended up dropping both balls. The result was a series that fizzled into forgettable fluff, proving even the juiciest concept can flop without narrative focus. Number 8. Pretty Man. Pretty Man is the kind of adaptation that makes you wonder if the creative team even read the webtoon. The original was cheeky, loud, and unapologetically fun. A ridiculous premise about a handsome, arrogant man who has to charm 10 different women to learn life lessons. It was never meant to be deep, just an over-the-top ride. The drama, though, sucked all the energy out and turned it into a draggy, makjang family melodrama. Tonal whiplash like that killed the lighthearted charm, and the romance only made things worse. The leads had zero chemistry. The relationship felt awkward and forced, and audiences couldn't root for a couple that came off as bland and, frankly, unlikable. With a female lead written as pathetic and a male lead who was egotistical without the wit to balance it, there was nothing for viewers to hold on to. Next up is Death's Game. Death's Game is a tricky one to place on a list like this because, on paper, it was actually a big success. It topped charts on Prime Video across Asia and even broke into the global top 10. Critics praised its visuals, and casual viewers found it fast-paced and emotionally gripping. By numbers and reach, it clearly delivered. But for fans of the webtoon, that's where the frustration sets in. The source material balanced dark humor, existential dread, and raw emotion in a way that felt haunting and unforgettable. Yet the drama often leans more into flashy visuals and pulpy entertainment than the deeper philosophical undertones that made the story special. While some loved the sleek execution, many longtime readers felt it stripped away the grit and nuance that gave those who run each's deaths their bite. The drama definitely succeeded commercially, but as an adaptation of a beloved webtoon, it lost enough of its essence to argue it might have been better left unadapted. And finally, we've The Sound of Magic. The Sound of Magic is probably the most heartbreaking letdown on this list because the source material, Anna라수마나라, is pure magic, melancholic, thought-provoking, and beautifully strange, asking big questions about dreams and adulthood. The drama blew through most of its musical numbers early on, then veered off into a random crime subplot that felt completely unnecessary, leaving the musical fantasy vibe hanging. On top of that, the mysterious magician Ri-ul stayed so closed off until a last-minute info dump that it was hard to feel connected to him at all. Critics praised the earnest performances but slammed the lack of narrative harmony. And they were right. The ambition to juggle so many genres left the story disjointed and hollow. It's a perfect example of how spectacle and budget can't save a show when the script itself doesn't sing. The webtoon gave us wonder, but the drama gave us a pretty shell with no spark inside. So what other webtoon adaptations do you think shouldn't have happened? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends.